Did you know Dr. DO Dispenza's Kundalini breathwork could be causing permanent damage to your health? His scientific research is excellent, but he cannot protect you from what he can't measure. For over 35 years, I've practiced energy breathwork, traditional martial arts, and Tai Chi from legendary masters, learning the rules of energy. And if you ignore these rules when practicing breathwork, you could destroy your flow of energy, leaving you drained with fatigue, stress, and chronic health issues. So in this video, I'll show you the 5 critical rules about energy Dr. DO overlooks, when to avoid doing breathwork to ensure you don't do permanent damage, and I'll show you how to restore your energy and reverse any damage you may have already caused. But first, let me show you how to spot the warning signs and avoid hurting yourself in the first place without knowing. And the first sign you're violating the rule of breathwork is similar to when you realize you're catching a cold. It starts with a tickle in the back of your throat. And even after you drink some water, the tickle's still there. If you don't take care of it, it's going to get worse. This is also the first warning sign you're breaking one of the rules of breathwork. You start feeling a little off. And if you ignore that feeling, it could spread into your stomach. And if you start feeling sick to your stomach, you've definitely broken a rule, especially when it's coming from your gut and you have any type of digestive issues. The body's never going to lie to you. And if it doesn't feel good, start paying attention, because the body can only give you good or bad feelings, which brings us to our next warning sign, which I'll start with a question. What happens if you throw water onto a live wire? You're going to see sparks. Well, when you do breath work, you create a lot of electrical energy in your body, turning yourself into a live wire. And if you wash your hands after the breath work, you may start to feel tiny electrical shocks. This is just like throwing water onto a live wire. Not only does it wake you, but it hurts. And this leads us into our last warning sign. And it's the absolute worst of them all. When I first started doing energy work, I didn't believe my teacher about any of these other warning signs. I never experienced them until a couple of years into my practice. And this last one, I'll never forget because I'm haunted by it every time I go to the bathroom. Unfortunately, it's nearly impossible to hide, and there's no mistaking when it happens to you because it'll come out of nowhere. So if you happen to notice any smells that seem out of place, and I'm not talking about passing wind, it's a very different and specific odor, then get to the bathroom as soon as possible and check your bottom bits because you've got a leakage. I don't want to say anything more than that. You'll know when it happens to you, and it's a clear sign that you've violated one or more of the rules. So you need to stop doing all the breath work before you do any more damage. But you can avoid all this by following these 5 energy rules Dr. DO overlooks. Again, all these rules start right after your last breath. And previously, one of the warning signs was feeling electrical shocks while washing your hands. Well, if water is causing your hands to shock, imagine what drinking water is doing inside your stomach. So rule number 1, don't touch water. Number 2, no drinking and no eating. But how long do you have to wait before you can start eating and drinking again? Well, think of it this way. You wouldn't go swimming laps right after a big meal. You'd wait while you digest. Well, that's the same with breath work. You got to let your body settle for at least 30 minutes after your last breath. Before you do anything, you want to give yourself enough time for the electrical energy of breath work to digest. And while you wait for the energy to settle, you might want to reset your body to the right frequency. It's like listening to a radio. When you start to go out of range, you hear static because you're losing frequency from the radio station. Well, breathing throws your radio frequency off. And to make it sound right again, you can reset your body just like one using a preset on a radio. But since our bodies come from the earth, they share the same frequency of 7.83 hertz. So the best way to calibrate your body back to the earth's frequency is to go outside, go for a walk, go walk barefoot on the grass, go hug a tree, do something with plants. This is called earthing or grounding. Now, it might be hard to go outside due to weather or physical limitations. So the next best thing is to use a grounding mat. And that's what I use during breath work. Meditations, healing work, I use a mat. And if you can't use any of these, connect with the earth using your intention, your mind, and visualize for a few minutes until you feel regulated. And you can do that really easy by taking a few breaths. Calm your body and mind, get that out of the way, and then make a conscious connection to the earth. But whatever you do, choose to ground for 20 minutes and you're going to feel a lot better, whether you're doing breath work or not. Finally, the last rule is the biggest. If you don't want to experience discharges, smells like I did, don't use the bathroom for 30 minutes after your last breath. This is the one rule most people have the hardest time with. So be sure to use the bathroom before you do any type of energy work. And if you're incontinent like I currently am, you won't be able to control your bladder. But that's okay because you're not adding any pressure and you're not forcing anything to relieve yourself. It's just happening. So it's okay. But please remember, Just like after eating, you want to wait 30 minutes after swimming. Give yourself 30 minutes after your last breath. That's all it takes to keep your body safe. But even if you follow these rules, you could still be doing damage if you do breathwork at the wrong time and place. So how do you know when it's safe to do breathwork? Well, since you're creating a lot of energy, you don't want to do it in high energy environments. It's like trying to breathe in a sauna, and then somebody throws water onto the hot rocks and you got all that steam, and it makes it even harder to breathe. So if you want to avoid that, think of like being outside in the sun. The sun is always the hottest right at 12 noon, regardless of where you are in the world. And if you've ever been outside during this time at high noon, it will be really difficult to stay under the sun without any covering or shade. It's just way too hot. And since I'm light-skinned, my mom always said, don't go outside 1 hour before to 1 hour after high noon. And that's the same with breathwork. The energy is just too high during this time. But that's not the only type of weather you want to avoid. Some people like to stand out in the rain. But would you stand outside in a thunderstorm? Besides taking the risk of being struck by lightning, thunderstorms are generally pretty violent. And that's the same with all storms, all weather changes that aren't typical. There's just way too much energy. So don't do any breathwork during unexpected weather. And if that's not enough, there's one last time that you must never do breathwork. And by making this mistake, you'll weaken the structure of your dantian. And this is where all your energy is collected. And you can find the dantian about 1 inch under your navel. And there's no scientific tool that Dr. Joe has to measure it. And if you're serious about building up your energy, this is the one area that you want to protect fiercely. So think about your dantian like this rubber glove. The more you do breathwork, the more pressure you generate, which becomes energy. But what if the rubber glove was popped, leaving a massive hole in it? Well, this is what happens after one of life's greatest moments, the orgasm. Every time you have a big release like this, you're tearing a hole in your glove. You can't do breathwork with a hole in your glove. There's nothing to hold the pressure. The good news, your dantian repairs itself, but only after a specific amount of time. So after having an orgasm, you must wait 3 days, a full 72 hours, before you practice breathwork again. But even after doing everything correctly, by not knowing these rules, you may need to reverse the damage you've already caused. And the fastest way to heal yourself isn't with a pill. So how can you heal yourself quickly without medicine? Well, since we're dealing with ancient breathwork techniques, modern medicine can't fix broken energy systems. And it can't be fixed with other energy treatments like homeopathy, Reiki, craniosacral. You need specific treatments that restore Kundalini energy pathways. And there's only 2 that I know of. One can take years to fix, and the other just 30 minutes. The longer method focuses on balancing the 7 main chakras or energy centers. And once you've done the work, you can correct the flow and the direction, but only after you fix the energy center. And all of this is the Indian Ayurvedic method, which works perfectly. But who wants to spend years trying to fix something when there's already a more efficient method? The shorter method works by boosting specific energy channels, shifting your energy quickly if used with one thing. This is an acupuncture needle, but not just any needle. This type of needle is 75 millimeters or 3 inches long. And when used by a traditional Chinese acupuncturist, they can reach a point required to stimulate the meridian running along the spinal column, healing you quickly and safely. The bad news? They gotta place it between your anus and your tailbone. The good news? You can't feel it. At least I didn't when I had to have it done a few years ago. But before you book your acupuncture appointments, you must prepare your body before and after your session. To have the best and fastest healing, you gotta stop doing breath work. Spend some time grounding. Only eat natural, healthy foods. Avoid anything packaged and processed. And you gotta do this for about 3 days. Now, don't go running off putting needles in your butt. Everyone has a different body composition. So please, please, please consult a traditional Chinese doctor or acupuncturist or an Ayurvedic doctor for the professional diagnosis and treatment. Now, even though you know the rules of keeping your physical body safe from breathwork, watch this next video and I'll show you how to keep your mind safe when breathwork shifts your reality too quickly.